Our human appetite for myth is insatiable. For Americans, nostrums of justice trump both past and future. In a universe of flux, this poses a conundrum. Can't we just get along? Haves, have-nots? Why not split the difference? Justice surely can close the gap and bring us equilibrium. Art, we propose, can join the cycle, allay our disparate muse, and find our universal bliss. Towards this modest end, we cast 5 artists of Africa, Asia, Central America, Eastern Europe, and North America to create, one with another, in Portland, Oregon, a single work of art. The product, titled Economic Equilibrium, spawns a film which captures their struggle and artistic result.
I'm born in Albania, Shkodra, and yeah, I know that I do art since I was little. I know that I do it since I remember for myself. So yeah, I don't know how probably my parents saw that I was really into it. I loved drawing and doing art things, so they sent me in this school for art. And then after I went in high school in Montenegro when I was 14, and after that I studied art academy in Montenegro too. So like all my life I do art, and I love it. I feel like the best when I do it. I feel like normal. Yeah, and I remember that when I was a kid, the economy in my country was really, really bad. Poor. I mean, it was always, but at that time it was really, really bad. I remember that juice was like sugar and water for me, because they didn't have nothing else to give us. I don't know, probably in art they affected me, that kind of, you know, the economy, I don't know, to express myself better, how I was feeling. So, yeah.
I'm Kwa Franklin Gong. I'm from Cameroon, from the Northwest Province, and my division is the mainstream division. I'm residing in Maga and Casco, which are the different clans and tribal palaces. So I started painting by snooping around in the village. I will go sit by artists' shop. We have an artist that used to be called Prezo. I went and wandered around the village hoping he was there. He had passed away. They said it was 8, but he had started building a house. Just his style of house, the style of house that he was building, you could tell that he was always an artist until he died. It was unique from the whole village. Anyway, he never gave me the chance to touch the brush. So I just watched him paint. But I knew every painting that he did. So I would use clay, different colors of clay, mix them in water, use foam and tie them. So I always had an art shop studio when I built it myself. That's how I grew up, just looking, and it was my way to talk. It was my way to to be able to express myself, I feel I need to have an open diary rather than a closed one. So I use my paintings to do that, or to express my wish, or to paint where I want to be. I come from a family of class. We learn class, the essence of class is class and humiliation at the same time. I've sold peanuts around the market on my head. I've carried newspapers and sell them. I've ridden with Mercedes, I've worked brand names, and leased and look over back on it. So that's how my inspiration came as an artist, so both ways. Or even being the person that sleeps on the couch and take care of the family. Being the youngest at the same time. It's kind of a conflict, but those are all inspirations. And longing for that gives me my art.
My name is Esteban Camacho Stephenson, and I was born in Costa Rica. And my father is an architect, and my mother is from the United States. And living in Costa Rica, I had a lot of experiences next to rainforests, and my father did a lot of paintings of palm trees, and he actually held my hand and would stimulate drawing. And so my parents also encouraged me to be an artist since I was a kid. And coming to Oregon after I was about 5, every year I've been living in Oregon and Costa Rica and have explored all the ecosystems of deserts and forests. I've always wanted to do drawings and paintings of animals, and being also close to my family, I live with a lot of cousins, so now I'm working more in education and trying to bring the nature that I really like to conserve or experience and try to bring it to public spaces. I like to create more positive images, and I guess I like to work with communities to inspire people to be hopeful of critical issues like war and climate change.
My name is Hyunju Kim. I came from South Korea. I was born in South Korea, and I didn't have any experience in art in South Korea. I majored in Asian studies in there, and when I came here, I found that I had to do something, and that's why I started in art. I always wanted to experience in art in South Korea, but my parents never supported in art. They were really, really supportive to me, but exception was an art. I don't know. They thought it's not, I don't know, it's not gonna be a lucrative career, so.
Dylan Anderson. I am from the Midwest, mostly Minnesota via South Dakota, where I was born, and Wisconsin, northern Minnesota. St. Paul, Minnesota is where I primarily grew up, some of the cities. And moved to California when I was 18. Primarily I've been out in California since that point. Did live in Oregon for a few years. I know that when I was very young, I would draw and when I was in school, I thought that I was drawing wrong, meaning a lot of kids seem to draw in a certain fashion. Either they were very good at copying something, or they didn't seem to have a clue and didn't want to do it. And I was kind of in the middle with the weird figures, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to keep this to myself because I'm not doing it right. Something's wrong here. And so I was always a little bit afraid of it, actually, and I didn't approach it. Skateboarding kind of brought art to the table, because there were a lot of artists that were involved in skateboarding, whether it was the graphics on the boards and making names and people marking results and so forth. I just want to contribute to making something beautiful, and I want to be part of a community, whether it's small or whether it's micro or macro, is to create something. And it isn't about me, it's about us. Do we want to try and take what we all bring to the table and say, let's incorporate all of those aspects into a piece? Or do we want to say, you know what, let's scrap what we're comfortable with completely and go outside of that and create a piece together that has nothing to do with our individual takes on it?
We have a topic and a concept to elaborate on. I feel like whatever angle we come from, just like we sitting here, it's a round table, right? Bring your flavor, they bring their flavor, everybody bring their flavor, we see what happens. We can't divine a piece that's imposing. That's the same thing that we're against as artists, right? So let's just show up and be organic as we can be.
That is an approach to be
I don't have a
organic in that way.
paintbrush at this point. I'll show up with a nail or a piece of wire. If you know exactly what you want to contribute for the project, she knows about, or we all know about it, it will happen perfect. There's nothing that's going to be wrong with it. So if we want to imagine what each other is bringing, after we've been given a topic, that's where we fit. But we can just sit and hang out and talk about why we wanted to be part of it. I feel like that at this point, that's the best contribution we can make. But if we try to define a piece by imposing on it, it's like forgetting a topic that was given to us.
What about we divide it by part and then we start by our own
Business?
paintings, yeah, own business, and then move forward. And I don't know.
That's a nice idea.
Maybe one part is going to be good for someone, for someone not. You know, so
Yeah,
we
so
have
how-
just to.
Well, then we can use tape, and we can like tape off the areas that need to be staying, and then
I think we can work together in the morning.
Oh, we working together.
Yeah.
one way that I am sort of imagining is trying to, as a theme is a transparent perspective. You know, we have 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective, and we're seeing lines. But what's a transparent perspective? Yeah, I feel like I'm looking into like an abyss, or it's just like reality where I have infinite transparent vision of everything. So, you know, I think starting blurry and making that opaque more transparent, you know, finding light, finding truth. You know, I think usually when we paint a painting, we're creating a window into a different space. And this is a chance to actually create 5 layered windows. You know, we're seeing into 5 different views.
Why the Economic Equilibrium Artist Project, otherwise known as EEAP? The purpose of EEAP is to stimulate more people to think about the implications of increasing income inequality in the United States and other nations of our global commons.
But so far what we have is different types of structures, different types of colors, but we're trying to kind of talk through paint. So we actually haven't really communicated about what we're doing.
I
but-
think it's like a painting talk. We are talking through the medium. Yeah. I think it works pretty well.
It was good collaborating, especially when a fellow artist steps in randomly, put their brush stroke next to yours with a color. So we got some commonness in it. So the topic, yeah, we've elaborated on it. I hope. If not, we can still go. I feel like there's not enough of a space at this point. If we want to go, we're gonna start hitting more other states from now on, even though they're still represented in the paintings at this point. So it's a global piece, I guess.
I'd also be comfortable saying that I'm at a point where I'd say it's done. I'm also willing to keep going as well, but I feel like we made statements work well together, put all of our different aspects into it, and it's at a point.
We could think about the painting as this plane, and so maybe instead of collaborating, now we can contribute to.
It's the shorter form of contribution.
Right. But I think in the way I'm saying is we can individually contribute to our group project, and so we can have a little bit more of our expression, and we can all see each other work for a short period of time.
I feel that it is finished.
Yeah, it has a nice, balance of strokes made by all of us. So it's technically finished.
I think in this kind of dialogue, it's as finished as it can be, and we could continue the conversation forever.
Yeah, because I would say if we keep working on it, what we're trying to do is making it more refined, bring light out, and then we would be focusing on specific things in the painting. And we're trying to kind of create a holistic vision, so that vision is created already.
I feel the same way. I feel like our first step is finished. We did color blocking and we did all our brush strokes and some shapes. And I think the color looks good, isn't it?
The color looks nice.
Yeah.
think we've elaborated on the concept, and I think we've started where we are by being from the state. I hope the state has been represented as well as globally, equally. So the concept has been made. I think it's finished. Anyway, the Union Station, the railroad, that's the coming together of America. When there are railroad tracks, goods are being supplied. That means construction. The window is just basically a symbol of agriculture as it was presented. And I would say the fish, I was hoping for a salmon, which is something that represents the state. If you're talking about irrigation, you talk about like fish and all other animal livestock or whatever. So the tractor basically symbolizes a farmer. And it end up running into a flower. I like this part because it represents the future of the state to me, symbolically. And of course, there's the Mount Hood over there.
I do really like the train running into the natural environment. Sort of that, as we discussed with equilibrium, the two opposing forces, and nature versus economy in a sense, and how they have a certain sort of conflict with one another, and ideally, again in equilibrium, hoping for a harmony, but it's right now it feels like it's more of a hope than an actuality, and I see that in there myself.
I really appreciate the movement that happened, which was not intentional. We have this sort of railroad track circling and connecting to this water flow, and then the water kind of creates this triangle with the salmon and the kayak, and St. John's Bridge creates this really nice tension, and there's light coming from it all the way from Mount Hood, so there's light going through the different drawings and through everybody's, like the light kind of hits through arches, through water, just the scratching of the paint creates these highlights, so there's just this transfer of, I was able to put paint on the whole painting, and yet we all painted this whole painting. Salud.
Is this the end or just the beginning? Time will tell.
I think if we get to this livable future, it will be because humanity has found a way to balance the imperatives of global responsibility with diversity and pluralism in modes of culture and development. I think we need to gain a better grasp of this world we live in this emergent global system, both as scientists and as citizens. We need to struggle to expand our mental maps, to traverse over space to take into account a global panorama, to span over time to think over many decades, where people from all over the world can find their place within this broad umbrella that unifies their various concerns into a broad-based process of awareness building and political change that can actually begin to steer things in a fundamentally different direction. So when we do reach our time of troubles, which well could come, a time of systemic global crisis, that there is the political space and possibility for recovery, more than recovery, for building and beginning a new history.
The EEAP project now rests at the Oregon World Affairs Council in Portland, Oregon.
We will try to give it a very good home and pride of place on our walls. It's certainly a lovely painting, but also the message of community and cycles and the international coming together. All of those things resonate with the mission of the World Affairs Council, which is, in a phrase, connecting Oregonians to the world. And this is yet another way of doing that. So we're certainly grateful to you for the opportunity. Thanks so much.